Thank you, Mr. Chairman, distinguished members of the House Judiciary Committee. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Noah Keating. I'm the Director of Strategy at EpiBone, and I'm here in strong support of HB 1292. EpiBone is a clinical stage regenerative medicine company. We use stem cells and proprietary bioreactor technology to grow living, personalized bone and cartilage grafts for patients with skeletal defects caused by trauma, congenital conditions, and degenerative disease. We manufacture our products here in New Hampshire at Army BioFab USA in Manchester within the Regen Valley ecosystem that has attracted nearly $90 million in federal investment. And I want to be clear about what is at stake here, because a couple of years ago, our company almost died. Regulatory barriers facing next-generation therapies in the United States, like those that Representative Layon mentioned, forced our company to relocate to the United Arab Emirates in order to survive. We're not alone. Many promising biotech companies have been pushed offshore by a framework that has not kept pace with the science. Now, I don't think it has been fully stated, but this bill is very heavily influenced by a bill that was passed in Florida that went into effect last summer. And that bill is called SB 1768. And many of the statutes in this bill are also in that bill. So I will be talking about that bill because we are a company that is actually utilizing that bill because it has given our company an economic lifeline and allowed us to return from the United Arab Emirates and begin bringing our operations back to the United States. So what makes this framework remarkable is not that it circumvents safety, is that it reinforces it. The Florida statute 1768 is widely considered one of the most strongly defined right-to-try laws in the country because of its emphasis on federal regulatory oversight of manufacturing. That's federal. Adult stem cells used under the law must be retrieved, manufactured, and stored in FDA-registered facilities that are also accredited by recognized national bodies. So that means AATB, AABB, Association of Blood Banks, Tissue Banks. These are organizations that are federally recognized that are going and certifying the facilities that are manufacturing the treatments covered in this statute. Physicians must follow current good manufacturing practices. Patients must provide detailed informed consent, among other things. So I feel this is not deregulation. It is a carefully constructed framework that prioritizes both patient choice and patient safety. And so I have seen firsthand what happens when a state gets this right. Companies are assembling in Florida right now to take advantage of its new law. Capital is flowing in. Patients who had no options are gaining access to therapies under physician supervision with full transparency. So HB 1292 would bring that same framework to New Hampshire by building on the expanded right to try statute Governor Ayotte signed last year. She stood in this building and told life science companies, come to New Hampshire. This bill is how we make good on that promise. New Hampshire already has the infrastructure in Manchester. What we need now is the regulatory environment to match. HB 1292 will remove onerous barriers to bringing next-generation therapies to market, spur biotech innovation and economic growth in this state, and give patients access to treatments that will make a huge difference in their lives. I urge this committee to recommend HB 1292 as ought to pass. Thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you. Questions for this witness? Representative Sharp.
Yeah, thanks, and thanks for taking the question. I think in your testimony, I heard you mention adult stem cells.
Yep.
I'm curious. I don't know if you heard my questioning earlier to the sponsor. You know, the inclusion of the language around the prohibition on stem cells derived from embryos, I guess, and the provisions for Class B felony for if those were to be used from a biotech standpoint. Is it essential that this bill have those provisions if they create some cross currents, I guess I'll call them, for the underlying purpose of bringing stem cell products into this realm of right to try? Is that clear? My question.
Not entirely.
Let me try. how
Sorry.
important from your perspective in the biotech industry are the prohibitions on embryonic stem cells, given that the prime sponsor said they wouldn't really be used in this technology?
Sure. All right. That's more clear. Thank you. So for our company, we don't use embryonic stem cells. For many other companies, they don't, but some do. It's not like it's not something that is ever used. And so that statute being in here helps provide guardrails for ethical behavior. And it also, I think, instills a sense of confidence that people are using this law ethically, that it's not just opening the door to, for aborted fetuses. I think the whole stem cell industry kind of went through a bad name, I think, in the George W. Bush era, when all stem cells were outlawed and kind of associated. And you talk to an average person about stem cells, and they might still think that it comes from aborted fetuses. And so part of the reason for that is to just assure everybody that that's not happening and to codify that in law.
Thank you. Other questions? Yes, Representative Scully.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. You had mentioned this bill has a lot to do with the bill that was passed in Florida, I believe, last year. Are there any early results from that bill being in place that can show the benefit of having this passed here?
I can point to increased economic activity. I've been to seminars that companies are putting on to educate doctors about the new law. I can tell you that many doctors are excited about the opportunity to provide therapies to their patients. They have patients, they want to provide the therapies. They're not currently able to do so. Now they are. I know there are other companies that are starting operations. It's still kind of early days. So we are in the process of going through and finding the right doctors, finding the doctors who want to champion the therapies and who think that these therapies are the right thing to treat their patients. So it comes down to a doctor-patient relationship, and the point of this is to give doctors and patients the freedom to make their own decisions. But to specifically answer your question, yes, I've seen it in terms of the economic activity and the interest in doctors and companies.
Thank you.
Other questions for this witness? Yes, Representative Tripp.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for taking my question. Do you believe that this bill would remove any regulations which prevent your company from being successful here in New Hampshire?
I think this bill would greatly assist our becoming successful in New Hampshire. Currently, we are not legally able to provide our treatments to granted staters. So this would allow us to begin setting up market readiness and finding the right doctors and sort of establishing operations in a forward-facing way rather than just manufacturing our products to go elsewhere from Manchester.
Thank you.
Other questions? Yes, Representative Bergeron.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you for bringing us this information. I just had a question of what happens if, because it doesn't list any sicknesses or illnesses that qualify, so how do you keep up with some of the conditions in this one as far as other ones that either may be approved with this or not? But I'm just curious. I'm just curious on when changes are made from your end, are we going to be informed just in case this policy has to change?
Changes on our end.
What we're going through right now, all the verbiage.
Yeah, so, sorry. My understanding is that the verbiage in this directly relates back to verbiage from FDA regulations. And so this, in terms of qualifying severe illnesses, chronic and debilitating, terminal, those are all definitions straight from FDA regulations. So we're not inventing those or writing new ones or.
Oh, that's not what I was referring to.
No? Oh, sorry, what are you referring to?
I was just trying to clarify a couple things.
Did I answer your question?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
Other questions for this witness? Seeing none, thank you very much.